welcome to Go Visit Castles.
This time we've travelled to Gloucestershire to visit a castle which has been owned and occupied by the same family for the last 9 centuries.
Welcome to the incredible Berkeley Castle. Before the Norman conquest of England in 1066, the Saxon Earl Godwin owned a manor here at Berkeley, which was confiscated by William the Conqueror following his victory at the Battle of Hastings. A Motte and Bailey castle was built on the land in 1067 by William Fitzosborne. The custodian of the Bailey was Roger, who took the name de Berkeley. The castle was held by the Berkeley family for 3 generations, but they were dispossessed of the castle in 1152 for withholding allegiance to the Plantagenets. The barony was granted to Robert Fitzharding, from whom all the present Berkeley family are descended.
We've just come through this rather amazing gatehouse and we found ourselves here in the courtyard of Berkeley Castle. The first thing that springs to mind is how beautiful this castle is.
It just feels like you've walked into a street that's made up of loads of medieval houses. It's just so well maintained.
And homely. It just feels very homely.
It really does.
And the amount of beautiful windows and the amount of doorways which we've got in this courtyard. There's so many doorways, I wouldn't know which one to go through first. You kind of get the feeling that whichever doorway you choose, you kind of catapulted back in time.
Yeah, so step through into a magical
We've got
land.
to pick a doorway.
Should we just be really lazy and go in the one that's right next to us?
Yeah.
We've got some fantastic doors on there. It looks like carvings of the apostles, I'd guess. So should we see what's behind it?
Absolutely.
Go on,
Let's go and have a look.
Wow.
Wow.
The apostles on here as well.
Look at this. Look at this.
This is the most incredible Great Hall I think I've ever seen. Look at the ceiling, the woodwork, the condition that it's still in.
Jo, this is why we do Go Visit Castles.
Yeah.
It's an absolute privilege to be able to explore and get access to properties as magnificent as this.
Yeah,
just look at the minstrels gallery and all the portraits.
That's where the last jester in England fell to his death.
Really?
In that minstrels gallery, yeah. Fell or potentially
Look
pushed.
at the stained glass windows.
We've got Henry Frederick. I think we've got the owners of the castle throughout time.
This is just breathtaking.
It's beautiful,
Absolutely
isn't it?
breathtaking.
The condition that it's in. Have you seen the carvings on the woodwork as well? Take not your neighbour. Oh, this is lovely. We've got some biblical verses.
Absolutely.
I think that's what the tapestries depict as well, are biblical scenes. I think that's King Solomon over there. Isn't it beautiful? And the tile work on the floor as well.
Oh wow. Go Visit Castles have been very privileged to get access to this room. This is the room where King Edward II was held and where the king was murdered.
So one of the things that Berkeley Castle is most famous for is the death of Edward II. Edward was deposed by Queen Isabella and Roger Mortimer, and he was kept here at the castle by his son-in-law, Thomas de Berkeley. The castle accounts from the time note that bolts, bars and ironwork was being purchased for the king's stay at the castle, so his stay was far from luxurious. And on the 21st of September 1327, a messenger was sent from this castle to Edward III at Nottingham Castle, telling him that his father the king was dead. The official announcement was that Edward had died of a grief-induced illness, but rumours soon began to spread that the king had been murdered. Thomas de Berkeley claimed that he was nowhere near the castle at the time, and in 1330 took himself before Parliament and claimed that the king had been murdered, he absolutely was not an accomplice, and he knew nothing about it until this present Parliament. Thomas was acquitted, and Roger Mortimer was executed for the death of the king. Although, 10 years after Edward's death, Edward III received a letter from a priest in Avignon. The letter claimed to be from Edward and claimed that he had escaped his imprisonment at the castle and he'd lived out his life in exile in Europe.
In 1645, during the Civil War, the castle was held by royalist forces commanded by George de Berkeley, who held it for the king. The parliamentarians then laid siege to the castle, and during an artillery bombardment, a breach was blasted through the walls of the central keep and the castle fell to the parliamentarians. Later, after the Civil War, the castle was handed back to the Berkeley family, but on one condition, that the breach was never to be repaired.
The Berkeleys lost possession of the castle when William de Berkeley forfeited his rights to the estate and sold the castle to Henry VII in exchange for various titles. On the death of King Edward VI, the castle and estates reverted to the Berkeleys for the final time. We have had the most incredible time here at Berkeley Castle because it's got such a homely feel about it, hasn't it? It just felt so relaxing and welcoming and so friendly whilst we were walking about, didn't it?
The history connected to it, it's been owned by its original family its entire life.
Yeah.
There's so much to do here.
My overall impression of the castle is this is now my favourite castle. Out of all the castles, this is my favourite now.
And we've done quite a few.
We have, and in our lives visited many castles, but there is just something about Berkeley Castle,
It's awesome, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, its history is amazing, but it's just walking around the castle, it's just got such a lovely feel to it. So what are we going to give Berkeley? What score do you think?
Berkeley Castle, as far as I'm concerned, it can only have a good solid Go Visits Castle score of 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's got everything. It's got everything for all ages. There's something at Berkeley Castle for everyone. Whether you come in here to have a day out with the kids, it's got an adventure playground, it's got the history, it's got beautiful gardens, beautiful surroundings, and the castle itself is just absolutely jaw-droppingly brilliant.
It's an incredibly relaxing place to be, isn't it? We're just surrounded by families walking around, having picnics, going by an ice cream. It's just a wonderful day out here at Berkeley, isn't it?
Yes.
If you've enjoyed this, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Go Visit Castles.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.